Hello and welcome to episode 103.
Wow.
I know.
103, my friend.
103. How has your week been, Mr. Run Around the Building at lightning speed?
Ka-chow, ka-chow, Lightning McQueen. That's all I've been doing. I've been running around like an idiot.
Have you?
Absolute manic, but all good, all positive.
Awesome.
I think
I'm getting my notes ready in the background here.
I think another new customer potentially, so that's nice. It's been passed on again.
Brilliant.
Word of mouth
Fantastic.
referral.
Yeah.
So that's all positive. Trying to think what else. I think what I've tried to do this week is just consolidate. I've been doing a lot of meetings and therefore I've been neglecting my admin.
Yeah.
So I blocked out my diary this week.
Good.
And I've literally just been in the office Monday to today and just been flat out doing tickets and upgrading and.
I think in the digital world, you need to turn stuff off. I was actually talking to Bitcoin Rob last night about it.
Bitcoin Rob, how is he?
The question, he's good. He's heading back to New Zealand next week. But the question I asked him was, how have you found working in the complete opposite time zone?
Yeah.
And he said, do you know what? Because I'm working when others are not, I can actually get my sprints of work done without the phone ringing or without anything else. So yeah, basically... He's quite enjoyed. It's almost been like not a digital detox as such, but it's because everyone's operating at a different time zone to him. Yeah. It's allowed him to do it. And part of the issue I had, and Adam said, I'm saying you've been looking at Adam behind the camera. We had a client in I hadn't seen for a while, and I wanted to make sure I saw him. And as he came through, I was on, was it my fourth meeting of the day? He said, yeah. So it was a bit, and they're all really important to do. However, trying to get your project work done is also a balancing act. However, do you remember I said, turn on my Copilot, please, and I paid the bill?
You did?
Actually, you haven't billed me. You need to bill me for Copilot.
Okay. Michelle, done my bit.
So do you know how I haven't paid the bill for the bill that doesn't exist and I've got Copilot?
Yeah.
I have been using it to summarise all of the actions for the meetings.
And how clever is it?
It's just really handy. And I know people can go, you can use... is it Otter?
Otter AI, there's lots of other ones and stuff like that. But as we've always said, having it just automatically linked into all of your business emails and Word documents and etc. It's
really good. So,
really good.
But it did save me time, and I wasn't cutting corners. And it was, in fact, it did a more accurate summary or a more detailed summary than I probably would have done.
Yeah.
But not to the point where this is too much. It broken key themes down.
Yeah.
And done that. So it was great, because then I could go, right. I said to everybody, are you happy if I just did transcription?
Yes.
Are you happy that I do this? Everyone in agreement? Yes. And then I turned it on. It wasn't done by automatic sort of thing.
No, I think it's really good. And one of the things that I've done this week, interestingly, what you were saying about once you finish a meeting, there's a lot to catch up on now. Even though the Copilot's doing a lot of the transcription, I'm still taking a lot of actions. So you use the calendar meeting booking within Microsoft
Bookings.
I've actually increased the time between meetings now. Because I'm
to give you a bit of a
half an hour. I think it was half an hour. I'm now doing it to an hour.
Yeah, so this is the time that you can have between appointments that people can book. So you'll have I suppose a cooling off time. I can't remember what they call it afterwards, but it's like a cooling off time. You can have a cooling on time and a cooling off time.
I've definitely increased it because I'm just manic.
Yeah, you need to get things summarised. But being able to do that and go, right, everybody, here's the summary of the meeting. It was accurate, and I checked it. I had to add one piece of information, because it was just missing and this bit sort of thing.
Do you find that now that you've got the Copilot, are you deliberately in your head talking as if to say silently to Copilot, take this as an action? Like when I'm doing it, I'm going, okay, so just to summarise, Andy Reid will take the action to provide Adam Walker the quote by the end of next week. And because I'm doing it in my head, I'm subconsciously saying, Copilot, take that note, please.
Yeah, so going, that's an action.
Yeah.
Sort of playing for the transcript. So speaking of which, I've used Copilot to help prep my podcast theme for today, which you know nothing about.
I do know nothing about it.
Because I'm told you.
Because you haven't told me.
So I've had a lovely chat with Copilot. Started with good morning.
Always good.
And it was how are you? And I'm this is just... And then you just find yourself being sucked in before you know it. So but I want to go back.
Back in time.
We're doing a historical one.
All right,
And
okay,
we've
I like
quite
it.
enjoyed these ones.
We do.
But today, I want to go to the originator of probably all of it, the printing press.
The printing press. Back in the day of the printing press.
Yeah. So,
In the Wild West.
secretly, I would love to have an actual working printing press. Not that I would start, it's like with the typewriters and people are like, oh, you're typing letters? I am actually. Not that I'd suddenly start going back. But I feel, because it's analog, right?
Yeah.
So analog, think of things like mechanical, physically things moving around, literally inking up a letter,
Yeah.
pressing it on a paper. Do you know who invented it? You'll have seen the name.
I probably will have done, but unfortunately it escapes me.
So on WordPress, there is, do you know the page builder, page editor thing they have called Gutenberg?
Yes.
So it's Johannes Gutenberg.
Ah, well, there you go. That's why. Very clever.
Yeah. And he actually invented it. When do you think it was? Actually, I'm not going to finish that. When do you think? Pick a rough era.
1810.
Mid 15th century.
Oh my goodness!
I
me.
was the same as you.
Oh my
I
goodness!
was the absolute same as you. So around 1440 to 1450 is sort of the day. I mean, that's still specific within a decade. But apparently, the Gutenberg Bible was printed around 1455, and that was like the first.
Excuse me, I find that incredible. Sorry, I'm being
And
lethargic.
tiring at the same time.
This is lethargic. This
Yeah. So
been a long week.
that was obviously like the key milestone. So clearly, Johannes Gutenberg, I mean, you could probably spend a whole
Episode.
episode researching him, but he obviously went, I want to do a Bible. How am I going to do this, right? And this is where the era change. I was coming in today, and we're looking back now 500 years. And I'm thinking, in 150 years' time, I won't be here.
True.
Podcast might be. Hello, everybody in the future.
Yeah,
So
listening
there's a
back.
bit of there's a bit of a, no, I'll be listening. There's a bit of a record there. But I asked AI, how will they look back on this era now, this digital era,
Right.
like we look back on the printing press era?
Its response was?
Information on steroids was actual. Like the information era, people getting to grips with it. Said something really interesting about truly democratized information.
Goodness me.
Because gatekeeping has become a lot reduced. You could still argue that people are gatekeeping via the social media platforms where they've got their terms of use and they can turn off comments and delete things and this, that, and the other. However, it's a lot more free than it used to be.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So, the printing press arrived mid 15th century, and printing technology obviously started spreading across Europe. In the early 1500s, there were printing presses in most major European cities.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the trajectory of growth, and you think way back then when it was very much analog, suddenly everyone was how? So that is a really early 1500s. There's printing presses in all major cities. Now, bearing in mind, there was no YouTube videos to watch to fix your printing press. There was no, yeah, do you see what I'm getting at? There was no hey, how's it going, everybody? Just check out my printing press. Look what I'm doing. Selfie. There was none of that. So my first question, I don't know that really, is how did that information spread so quickly? Obviously, the Bible went out and that was distributed and it went from there. But there was that rate of growth for me seems incredible, understandable with what it was offering, but in terms of 50 years really.
But surely that must have just been, can I say, organic spread of information. Somebody would have visited one city, saw the printing press, moved on to the next city, 4 or 5 weeks later arrived, and then spread the news and. Or was Telegram invented?
Not then.
No, probably wasn't. So it was all people
Because they had nothing to print it on.
No.
They used to give them a bit of paper.
No, I meant exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
It used
right.
it was all handwritten. So before that date, everything was handwritten.
Handwritten, yeah.
So any books were transcribed, were handwritten. So each region started producing different types of books, religious texts, scientific works, and more. Okay. And then in the 19th century, so that went along with the mechanical, 19th century, steam-powered printing presses and later rotary presses allowed for mass production newspapers and books.
Right.
But you've got this initial period there where they're doing a huge amount of work manually to do that. But what you tell me, why is the printing press a good thing? What did it offer people?
Well, it offered them news, but obviously it was just printed news, so they could read it at their leisure. But it must have been at that time breaking news. I'm just thinking about all the old films with the boys standing on the corner waving the press, waving the paper, because that would have been the only way of communication, or written communication, apart from gossip.
Yeah, so let me just have a quick... I'm just looking through my
Notes.
So, one, sped up production
Yeah.
of books and obviously made information more accessible. Okay? Before that, everything had been copied by hand,
Right.
which took ages, as I've said. It also helped spread ideas quickly. Fueling movements like the Renaissance and the Reformation. And 3, it standardised local language across regions. Now, I didn't think of that being a thing, but imagine it.
Oh, gosh, of course.
Yeah, so you've got your own little micro-societies,
Yeah.
physically separated by others. The world, everyone says the world's a smaller place now. But obviously, the impact that would have had on language.
Gosh, yes.
We've got accents here, different accents in the UK.
I didn't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, so we've got... So imagine what the language is doing in each region if there was
of
no
course.
cross-pollination to sound millennial.
Hey.
Cross-pollination of language and words. So obviously it started to almost allow you to centralise it, and then also started to impact education, religion obviously, and politics. Yeah? So then the next bit... So I was like, okay, you've got all this stuff, but I was like, so how long did it take for the newspaper to arrive? So what do we reckon?
Well, then... 1500s. Again, I'll go back to the 1800s or something.
Yeah, well, it was early 1600s, the first recognisable newspapers in Europe.
God.
And they were like a weekly newspaper. So at the moment in news, you've got weekly and dailies, generally speaking. So daily.
BBC now the app is like literally breaking news.
But obviously you've got like the Northern Echo locally, who's a daily, and then you've got the Dalton Stockton Times, which is a weekly.
Yeah.
So you've got those. So 150 years after Gutenberg, the first recognisable newspapers arrived in Europe. Often weekly, reporting events like wars, politics and trade. The first daily appeared in the 1650s, apparently in Germany. Now, people could go, Adam, you've been doing your research with AI. I have.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I would come across the same sort of information. So what I'm saying, if I Google, you are reliant on looking at the sources. So I have tried to do due diligence where possible, but this is what I'm seeing at the moment.
Interestingly, I read an article this week that was saying that most of the browsers now are changing. So when you do a Google search in Google, the top part of it is an AI one.
Yeah.
In Brave, the other browser, it's Leo. In Microsoft Edge, it takes Copilot. And yet, on the same breath, they say, be careful because AI can get things wrong. But I
can get things wrong. This is what I was like, I could get it. Like, I've done this research where I've gone through, and sometimes my source could be Wikipedia.
Well, exactly right, mate. And that's what I was also getting at, is the fact that if we switch off AI, I would have Googled, I would have read something, and if I'd have misread something or somebody had posted something that was incorrect, I would have relayed that factually incorrect information.
So I've got a meta thought at the end to share. Meta. I'm using that word a lot on the moment. So, first daily appeared in Germany 1650s, and it set the stage for, obviously, newspapers to go, and within about a century and a half, the concept of regular printed newspapers started to take off. It was a natural progression once people realised the sharing of news and values and ideas. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall back then, because the barrier to entry would have been massive.
Yeah.
And you go, right, I'm going to say news. And then this is where I suppose your first instances of like reporting bias come into it, and this, that and the other.
Definitely.
Equally, like now you've got journalism qualifications that people are doing. Back in the day, it could be just any guy who goes, I'm going to release the news.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Right, first newspaper in the UK, considered to be the Oxford Gazette, 65, but then it moved to London and became the London Gazette, which still exists today and is one of the official journals of record, apparently.
Gosh, right.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, and also, I'm probably jumping ahead. I'm hoping I'm not stealing your thunder here.
No, go
but
for it.
nowadays, people, I mean, my father has only recently just stopped getting the Radio Times because he was like, why do I need to bother anymore? Because it's all online. But, you know, every day he used to walk to work and always get the Daily Mirror, the newspaper. But again, that stopped now because we have got so much information literally at our fingertips that you don't need to be. I mean, when was the last time I saw? Can't remember the last time I saw Yellow Pages.
Very thin now.
Is it?
Yeah. However, what I would say to you is, I don't know. I think the more we're surrounded by digital stuff all the time, right?
Is that because you're working in digital marketing agencies?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it makes me think. Like I appreciate my log fire.
Yes.
Like a candle.
Yeah.
On the man. Like this sounds really, but I do. It's like simply sat with a bit of normal TV. I know still digital, but normal TV. Not just streaming services. And it does make me go, how do we, it's almost like the behaviours that I saw growing up are like, it's like an era's slightly disappeared. It has disappeared because it'd be like, you'd want to catch your TV programme at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night.
Thursday, yeah.
And if you missed it, yes, you could try and mess around with a video recorder. Sounds so old. Could try and mess around, but even if you had the TV set to the wrong channel, you'd miss it. It might not record. You might have messed up the timer. But I do look back on those days fondly.
Yeah, but nowadays I think we are a nation for the younger generation, they don't seem to cherish those memories because we're moving at such a fast pace. It's almost as if we forget those types of things. And the younger generation, I was like, I'm not saying that they don't care, but what I'm saying is like, no, we've moved on to the bigger, better thing. That's fine now, but that's old hat. Whereas we were brought up on that era where the technology change, the first ZX Spectrum, we were at that forefront. And I think for us, we are of that generation where we appreciate what we had to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That, whereas nowadays, if you look at the younger generation, they probably don't realise that because it's so matter of fact. They're just so used to it. Like, here's your latest iPhone 15. Oh, great, this iPhone 12 is rubbish. Gone. They don't appreciate it.
I have an iPhone 11. I buy a phone and then run it into the floor.
Make sure it's supported.
It is.
Good.
It's very good.
Very good.
But
yeah, do you know what I mean?
I do. But then I think things like Gladiators is back on the TV. It's not on right now, but it's come back on. It's made like Saturday night TV again. Now they've played a blinder because all the parents that watch Gladiators are like, right, my kids, you need to watch this. And then they love it. And it like creates that bit of family moment around the TV.
Me and Michelle discussed, oddly enough, the other day, we cannot remember the last time we turned on the TV and watched TV.
Standard TV.
We are 100% streaming now. We never ever watch now. Now, we are both of the ilk. Sorry for everybody out there. I can't stand any of the reality TV programs. They absolutely just turn me off. I don't think I've ever watched... I watched one episode of Big Brother when it came on and I went, what an absolute load of... But that's just me.
Yeah, reality TV.
Michelle doesn't like any of the soaps, hates them all. I don't watch them all. We never watched one episode of Saturday Night with Ant and Dec.
Oh, I love that program.
Nope. Never watched Strictly. Never watched the Ice one. Never watched the Jungle one because it's just not us. We find it
which is
cringing. Like, oh my Lord, this is awful.
So that's where digital era steps in.
So that's what I'm saying. We then would rather sit down and go, what series we want to catch up on. We do not have the live TV, if you like. Now, whether or not is that kids based? Do you settle down because you want to be part of a family with the children? Because me and Michelle would much rather settle down with a nice glass of wine and catch up on a series.
Yeah, we do both.
Right.
We do both.
When the kids are in bed, do you and Corey settle down and watch live TV?
We did last night, Traitors.
Can't stand it.
Yeah, love it.
Absolutely can't stand it.
Did you watch it last night? Oh yeah, no spoiler.
No.
It was good, but that's probably the extent of the reality stuff we do. But yeah, so we did do that, and I was thinking about behaviours and things, and this is what we'll come back to. A lot, like the viewing figures will have been through the roof live for that last night, rather than people streaming it, because it's like a broadcast, catch it now. Whereas a lot of the series, you know, you can stream it when you want.
Yeah, and both myself and Michelle, we don't watch an episode and wait for the next week. We wait until the series is finished and then binge it.
Yeah.
You know, so those types of things like that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I think we mentioned something about Strictly, or not Strictly as much. It was like the Big Brother type, in the jungle, and they said they turned off it completely. And I think their words were, in the early days, they got people together that would have a spark between each other, whereas he said now they pick people in the Big Brother, whatever, deliberately to conflict. And she went, that's just TV rating.
But this is bias, right? So I suppose if we go back to the printing press, and I know people go, you sideline, but it's not actually, because the digital era is just an amplification of what went before. So I'm fascinated to understand like what it was like in those days to report the news. Or was it even news? Was it just like, I'm just going to write about this and send it to everyone? It's like, could it have started as gossip, you know, and things like that? But I think the printing press was absolutely fascinating. Like, for example, why do we have clocks in our town centres? People didn't have these watches. People didn't have phones. How'd they tell the time?
Because they had a large sundial in the back garden.
Yeah, so villages have got clock towers and things like this. It does the bongs
I've never even
hour.
thought of that. So does the bongs, no matter what, in a small village you would go bong, bang,
yeah.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, so it gives you the number of bongs, and then you get a quarter past, half past, and a quarter to, usually, whether they've been turned off now. But like, so that's why they used to do it. So you could hear what time it was.
But I don't hear any bells anymore, bongs anymore.
No.
London, Big Ben, does that still do
That
it?
still goes.
Yeah, but nothing else does. Ours does now, I assume, in Darlington. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
Has it?
Don't know. There is a bell in there.
I'd imagine there is.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure the bell goes off on the hour. But they used to be, do you remember? Bing, bong, bing, bong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, right? So that used to go off. But that was telling people the time. So imagine in the era then, so you had the printing press and you had a town centre clock. You're like, I've got the time and I've got the news. Like, there we go. But if you missed those windows, you'd be like, I don't know what time it is.
Was the ye old town crier prior to all of this as well?
Shall I have a look?
Have a look.
Because town crier is absolutely a valid point. But then you can come back to who is doing that. Town crier, known as a bellman, dates back to ancient times with roots in ancient Greece and Rome. Wow. Okay. These figures were respected and protected by law due to the importance in their role. Medieval and early modern England. Town crier became a formalizer after the Norman conquest in 1066. Essential in a largely illiterate society, reading out royal proclamations, bylaws, market notices.
I never even thought of that.
What, people not being able to read?
Correct, because it wouldn't have been...
It was a privilege.
Yeah, it was. I remember reading about that. It was a privilege to be able to read, write. So these town... Wow.
Yep. And
if nothing, this programme's informed.
Yeah, and apparently their cry, oh yay, oh yay, oh yay, comes from Anglo-Norman French meaning hear ye. Apparently. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Uniforms, red coats, tricorn hats, rang bells to attract attention. I mean, you see, town criers look amazing.
They do. Brian Blessed would make a good town crier.
Yep, their duties extend beyond announcements. They escort criminals, read out the charges at public executions. Oof. And
hang on, I got dark deep quickly.
And even ensured fires were damped down at night. That would be where I'm like, AI, are you for real?
Yeah.
Fire! I don't know. Like,
I have no idea, mate.
Connection to the newspapers.
Aha.
Town criers were essential first form of mass communication, acting as a talking newspaper. After delivering the message, they would post it on the door of the local inn. Hence the origin of terms like posting a notice and the naming of newspapers such as the Herald or
Yes.
the Post.
Yeah.
How good's that?
Well, that was a quick dive into that.
So the
but that's something,
Town
yeah.
Cry was like the early newspaper.
I think you'd make
But
a
if
good
you
town crier.
thank you. If you couldn't, oh dear. But if you couldn't hear Town Cry and you couldn't do it, then you could get a written copy. But
Yeah.
obviously, reading has to be a factor in your life. I just think it's fascinating. I'd love to go back to. I think of like places like Whitby, for example.
Beautiful
Like,
place. Love
I'd
it.
love to see it 200 years ago.
Oh, God, would you just imagine that?
Like just to observe
My
it.
father-
Maybe not live in
Sorry,
the
my-
same condition.
Absolutely. My father has requested me to teach him on how to use Google Earth and use the time button so he can go back in time.
Right?
So he's spending a lot of time.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not, bless him, he is 80-odd, 82. It's his birthday at the weekend.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ken. But he is starting to reminisce a lot more.
Yep. I think I am at the moment. People can hear it.
But he's starting to reminisce, so he's looking back a lot now, and it's honestly, it's fascinating. When we're talking to him over dinner, he can't remember what he had for dinner last week. But if I mention specifically something about a particular country, he'll go, yep, I went there in 19 blah-de-blah, I was on the ship, I did this. So it's amazing how far his goes back. And he lives more of his life now within the old times, not the new times. He spends a lot of time chatting to Copilot. I can't remember whether I mentioned this last week. It's because Copilot remembers everything that he does. But that's purely because it's the internet. So he speaks to us sometimes and he will be like, oh, do you remember this person? And I'm like, nope. And he's like, oh, he's an actor in the 1930s. I'm like,
The problem is that kind of kills the conversation for him, right? Because he
does.
now can't talk to you about it.
correct.
Which-
But because he lives back then and he's got nobody of the same age to talk to, he's getting pulled into the Copilot world. And obviously Copilot does know that because I keep saying to him, but she's got the internet, everything. So when you ask about a 1920 actor, of course she'll know about
But I
it.
think that's brilliant because
It's
what it
reassuring
does,
for him.
They talk about memory being elastic, don't they?
And that's the key.
And you need to keep reaching back into the memories, and
and
like,
it keeps
it's a
him
good-
active like that, which is what I feel really good. Whether I should admit this on air, I actually feel quite sad because when I asked him why he's doing it, it's because he's lonely.
Yeah.
And it's because he's lonely. He's got others, don't get me wrong, in terms of that. But during the day,
Yeah, but who can you talk to about that stuff, right?
exactly. And that's what he's saying. So the only thing that I've been saying to my dad is I'm just saying, just be a tad careful what you tell her. Because obviously she is the internet and everything that you tell her
Yeah.
is open source.
No, like the AI thing's really interesting. I think really now what I wanted to do is we talked heavily about AI the last few weeks, and it's massive. And I said last week about businesses should be considering their AIO, like the AI optimization of their
I
business.
don't care about AI. I want to know what the other vowels are doing.
Exactly. Very good. Terrible. A video I've seen, someone else has come out and saying, search, like to quote them, they were saying that Google are investing heavily in like the AI development stuff.
Yeah,
because
they are.
obviously AI could circumnavigate the search engines. So everyone now, it's about a battle of whose AI you use,
Yeah.
or that's what it will become. And it's really fascinating to see that because they don't want to be do you remember everyone talked on the AI class about Ask Jeeves?
Absolutely.
Right, but they didn't necessarily.
Vista.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily move and develop like Google did in the same way, and then they lost their market share. The same could happen to a Google if they didn't develop their AI side of things for search. So it's quite interesting how that's moving. But I think this all came from the printing press.
No, definitely. Again, another interesting article. Google are apparently slipping in terms of the usage because other people are starting to use the other AI browser searches, the Perplexities and the Claudes, as we heard from our friend Kane. Did you read his LinkedIn post on Friday?
Did you?
I never mentioned AI once.
However,
but yeah, they're beginning to lose some ground, which is why I then read another article that Google are now spending umpteen millions of refining their Google browse search engine. So when you very first type into Google, it won't be just web retrieve, it will be AI.
yeah, I think it's phenomenal what's gone on. And I think if you'd go back to Mr. Gutenberg and go, here's AI and here's what it does. They'd be like, what?
Why would Steve Gutenberg know anything?
Well, exactly.
He's just police.
Johannes.
Okay.
So, Andy, I'm going to take you back in time. Would you be resilient printing press systems? And what do you think businesses back then that were doing the printing press? So I was thinking about this. You might have got a printing press. It doesn't mean that you're reporting the news. You might just do the machinery, right? Which is a bit like you now.
Yeah.
In
That's
a
probably what I'd be
sense,
doing.
in the systems.
Yeah, fixing the printing presses.
Yeah. So how would you go about marketing your printing press business in the, we'll be fair, 1700s?
I would employ a large town crier.
Yeah.
Oh, yay, oh, yay, oh, yay. You run your printing press, we look after it.
Yes, that's...
There we go.
Maybe there's a version of Andy, like 300 years ago, we didn't know.
I'd love to see that.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Like a carbon copy of you.
But interestingly, though, surely it would go back to what we were talking about at the very start and what we've constantly gone on about. How would people get to know about resilient printing press resources and fixes? It would always be about word of mouth.
Yes.
Because there's no other way that you could possibly know. I couldn't advertise on social media. Didn't exist. Apart from doing things like printing. Is that where all the flyers come from? You know, like where the kids, again...
That back in the day. I mean, they used to have, they had newspaper salespeople going, extra, read all about it. That's them just advertising the newspaper, trying to sell the headlines, basically, to get someone to go, I need to know more about that.
Yeah.
There's a few sayings that I'm going to come on to in a minute from the printing press, and I read this in an article from the Teesdale Mercury,
All right. Okay.
which was really, really good to hear, and I've just pulled up some of them on here, and they are there, and I will talk about that in a minute. But I think, imagine you're going, right, I've created this printing press, and I'm going to sell it to people. You're selling it to an industry that doesn't exist yet.
Exactly.
Yeah? So you're like running a business. So imagine running a business 300 years ago. You go, I'm going to make these printing presses and I'm going to sell them to people. It's like, who do I sell them to? Well, there's no newspapers that exist, or very few. How do you get across? So imagine we're talking about local towns and regions, the amount of work that you would have to do. And I imagine just travel.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Get on the road, talk to people, get to the movers and
Little box,
shakers.
stand up.
Yeah. Little hat.
Little hat, and then just, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Anyone want a printing press?
What's one of them? You don't know it, but you're going to need one.
Yeah, and it weighs 50 tons.
Yeah, exactly. I'd hire a digital photographer marketing person I know. Hello, Adam from the future.
Digital one, would you?
From the past. Would you get your little tripod and flash magnesium, poof, take the photograph?
Oh, yeah. I'd do that. I
And
would
then
have
you
done.
could put it in the flyers, and I could hire Adam to go out and deliver the flyers.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
That's how you do it. You'd have to.
I'd have to do it.
So,
like that.
a couple of common sayings came from the printing press era. Okay. Out of sorts.
That means that they've run out of licorice all sorts.
Not quite.
Okay.
But you're kind of not far away, but just not sweet orientated.
Ah.
So, do you know the type pieces?
The
letters, the
fonts
words.
and the-
So, if anyone doesn't know, printing press, what you do is you have all of the, I'd say, tiles.
Yeah.
Or in this case, they were called sorts.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so the like little metallic usually.
yeah.
I mean, you could have wooden ones, but obviously
And that's where the guy would literally
line up the
everything.
article with the letters on
Yeah.
the sorts and the dirt. So when you are out of sorts,
You'd run out.
you've run out of basically letters. I'm feeling
Exciting news ahead. Please. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. you were, so the saying "I'm out of sorts" is you're out of basically letters.
Yeah, well, there you go.
For your printing press. Mind your P's and Q's.
P's and Q's were the most valuable sorts. Let's take a guess at that.
Close. You have to be careful not to mix up your P's and Q's because they look pretty much identical. Just one's in reverse and one's the other way.
Looking at, 'cause obviously, when they do the typefaces, were they all reversed? They would have had to have been.
Yeah, so they probably had to put it in backwards. I imagine to get a printer for so mind your P's and Q's because you could put a P in and it'd look like a P to you, but when it's printed it'd be a Q. Yeah. So mind your P's and Q's. Uppercase and lowercase. I know it's not a saying, but what it refers to is capital letters were stored in the case in the uppercase of a drawer, while the small letters were kept in the lowercase of a drawer.
Wow, now that I like.
Yeah, because it's not a case, it's a letter, right? So why do we call it uppercase?
Yes.
Because apparently it was like up and down on the drawers.
I do like that. I didn't know that. I like that.
Cliché is a French word. Cliché, we say cliché. To click. This referred to the cast printing plate used to reproduce frequently used phrases. It involved the idea of something being overused or unoriginal, apparently.
Ooh.
Stereotype.
That has to be one of the fonts.
Original method of printing from a solid plate. The term later came to mean fixed or oversimplified ideas, apparently.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Making a good impression.
Well, obviously that's because the paper made a good impression on the tiles sorts.
Yeah, so you need a good sort of seal, I suppose, on the press. That's the press element, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the act of pressing ink type onto paper, making impression. It later took on a figurative meaning for leaving a positive impact. Above the fold.
Nope.
So we use this today in web design quite often. So in newspapers, the most important stories were placed above the physical fold. So do you know how you fold a newspaper in half? Kind of like your book, yeah, that way. Yours is a portrait thing. You'd fold it that way, but you get the idea. Do you know when you see a stack on the shelf? Yeah. So that's about being above the fold, so it's visible. So that even there, that is your earliest form. I'm just going to badge it up as what we call it today, as a thumbnail.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Above the fold.
Above the fold. And today on a website, it's like the first most visible content, right?
Absolutely.
So whatever loads on that screen is above the fold. Like you want to get hit with it straight away.
Above the screen, so it's the first thing that you see.
A dab hand.
That would be a person that came along and re-inked things.
Printers used a dabber to apply ink evenly to the blocks.
Yes.
Or the sorts. Someone skilled at this task was called a dab hand.
Makes sense.
So it's making sure you had good coverage on
evenly across the sorts.
Exactly. And this is one. Ditto.
Ghost.
Popularized by the Ditto.
Ghost.
Yeah, no. Popularized by the Ditto copying machine.
No.
In the early 20th century. The word became shorthand for repeating something already stated.
Well, there we
so
go.
Apparently there's a copying machine called the Ditto.
Ditto. Patrick Swayze never knew that when he said it.
There we go. It's awesome, isn't it?
That is really quite good in terms of going that. But then, where are we going to now?
A great question.
I mean, at the moment, I can't keep up with it, and I'm in the industry.
Yeah. Where are we going to now? I mean, we started there. I think, honestly, you know, you hear the term mainstream media being used as like a negative comment about, the mainstream media are doing. And I'm like, looking at it going, right, okay, someone's got to report something somewhere, right? So it's kind of being used as a derogatory term in some regards. Or it's like, it's being covered by the mainstream media. Or it can be used as a validation. But I'm like, the importance for freedom of expression is really crucial.
Yeah.
But also, you know, that doesn't mean you can just say anything, right? You cannot impinge on somebody else's freedoms and this, that, and the other. Also, freedom of expression doesn't mean you should just lie. Yeah.
Why?
You know,
Why not?
But what I love about the Oxford one in particular, which became the London one, is it's like a journal of formal record. So I'm like thinking, right, I was driving here thinking about this, and I'm going, okay, so you can go in the library and look on the microfiche.
The microfiche.
If anyone, do you know what a microfiche is? Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
This is like the teletext conversation I had with him the other week.
Hey, don't worry, I'll send you a fax, Adam.
Yeah. Do you know what a fax is?
I know what a fax is.
Have you ever actually had a fax? You've never received a fax. He's missing out. Yeah, he's missing out. So I'll send you a fax. The libraries.
Yeah.
You can go in the library and you can look in the is it public reference library?
Yep.
And you can pull up all of the newspapers in there. That box with the screen. Yeah, Adam's got.
He's got it.
He's connected the dots.
Any horror movie, but it's investigating it. That's what they go for.
Yeah, but it's like a micro tape, really, and it's it's like photo negatives, isn't it, of the newspapers? But they've obviously been recorded, and I'm like, we still want our newspapers to be print. I think. Although then again, I was like, well, actually, no, they're just all logged on the internet.
Yeah.
But here's the point: let's say a news outlet shuts down and turns their web server off. They've just turned all the articles off, and they're no longer stored as a public record, because when you've took the physical thing into the library and stored it there, that's somebody else. Doesn't matter what the newspaper does in the future, you've got that on record. So I'm like, I would hope that there is a way to preserve the newspaper like it's been done, because it is really good to look back on. Like when the library had its anniversary and it was like the stuff about the Keystone, they'd pulled out some of the articles about the placing of the Keystone.
I remember you talked about that photograph with all the top hats.
Yes, you had all the top hats on the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And you had all the bowler hats on the ground. Yeah.
Uppercase, lowercase.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It seems that way.
Seems that way.
But I was like, yeah, so all right, digital age, great. News, press, all this sort of stuff, brilliant. Public record, it's on the internet. And everyone goes, oh, it's on the internet, it's there forever. Well, no, because actually it's on their server.
On the internet forever triggered me because we were speaking to somebody, I'll keep their name, but basically the customer that he was dealing with had their website hacked. And they, at the very early days, refused backups because they went, it's on the internet, it's there forever. No. Basically,
it's like saying I built a house, it's there forever.
Yeah, so this person is now having to completely rebuild their website because they didn't believe in the backups, they didn't need backups, it's there forever, I don't need a backup. So it's interesting, again, how quick things can change from a digital point of view.
But people were taking... I'm just in... So when you're saying how do things look in the future, I think just on the printing press to now, obviously we've been recording the papers, the news, the things like this. It'd be interested to know, I'd hope that we're still gathering those records in a place that is outside of the news, say it's the newspaper, outside of the newspaper, like the library.
We are storing a lot more information. A lot of things are in the early days, if you remember the BBC comedy classic programmes, a lot of them were overwritten to save tape because they were expensive. Yes. Whereas now, I think we're actually heading into an era where we are storing everything. And if you remember the podcast we did months ago, we were saying that the more storage and cloud you use, the more non-green efficient we are, because we're just hungry for data space in the cloud.
Yeah, and I think there's a whole thing around how much data should we keep?
It is interesting, but you also go back to the people with hoarders, in the old days where you had like the massive filing cabinets, at sales from 1973. How often do you go back to that? Well, never, but I might.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things in terms of...
So I got a bit deep in the car.
I think you definitely did.
Are you ready for this one?
I'll go on then.
Well, actually, I said... Where am I? How does all of that, print press and all that, how does it compare to the modern day? Like, what's the comparisons? The answer I got, and I agree, it's a continuation of what the printing press started.
Yeah.
Print press broke down barriers to information. Now the internet does that, even on an even larger scale. Information flows instantly around the globe. One of the big differences is volumes and speed. Yeah. And also, people can share their own information and share that globally, like direct.
And sadly, some people share incorrect information.
But this is what you're going to get, right? Because I'm sure when the printing press came, someone got a printing press and started printing unscrupulous messages and materials about people. What's the difference, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously the volume's a huge thing, but the printing press era, there was a gatekeeper. Like they had to be able to afford to get it in this.
Good old Bill Gates, love him as a gatekeeper.
Yeah. So that kind of made me go, And I'm like sat there thinking, bit morbid, this one. And I had the thought, in 150 years' time, we'll all be gone.
Yes, we will be.
Probably just as well. I wouldn't want to be that, but we will all be a distant memory. Which I don't think is a bad thing to look at, actually, because you can look at what are we doing? What are we doing today? Yeah. So I thought, how do you think this era, because we're looking back at the printing press era, how do you think this era would be looked back on in 150 years' time? So that was what I touched on about world became hyper-connected, but also when society started grappling with the sheer overload of information.
Gosh.
Yeah. They might see it as a time of massive change where technology reshaped, but not only how we communicate, but how we think, work, and even build relationships. I was like, that's really right. In 150 years, they might see the digital revolution era like the printing press era, but on steroids. And then my brain ticked over again.
Yes.
How do you see AI feature in society in 150 years' time? And I was expecting it to go, I'll still be here, Adam.
But you won't.
But you won't be. So this is what the AI answered. In 150 years' time, AI could be deeply integrated into society as electricity is today.
Oh, my God.
Completely essential, but mostly invisible in everyday life, it could handle much of the background work, automating tasks, making decisions, and even helping with creativity. But there's also a question of how humanity will balance that power, how we'll ensure AI remains a tool that benefits everyone. If we get that right, actual words, like we.
Hang on a minute, there's no we in this.
AI could help solve enormous challenges like climate change and healthcare and free up people for more meaningful and fulfilling work. But how we manage that is... how we manage that change will define whether the future looks like a utopia or something more complicated.
That's got deep very quickly.
But the idea, if we just go back to that a second, because I love this, because we'll never get to see it, that's what's annoying, is, do you remember, we'd watch all these, in the 90s, there was all these future movies, you know, the Star Trek, Jeff Bezos is a massive Star Trek fan, and he wanted to be able to walk in and just talk to the computer, and I'm like, I'm literally having a conversation with this properly, not just like, hey, send it, like I had to send Adam a message, so I was stuck in traffic, so I said, hey, send a message to Adam and say, I'm just stuck in traffic, I'll be there shortly. That's not AI, that's just do as I say.
Absolutely.
But now we can have conversations, right? With it.
Yeah.
I was like, so are we going to walk in a room and just have like AI omnipresent around? Turn on the light.
We've got that.
I know we can
now.
do that. Yeah, but that's an instruction.
What it should do is it should recognise that you walked into the room. Good morning, Adam.
I know. Will it do that? That is like the movies. That's what
it is, and that's what I'm saying. If we think about the one with Will Smith, iRobot, where you walk in and it just says, good morning, Adam. Your calendar is, I've already made the coffee. I've prepared the notes for your meeting.
And you can do all of those bits and bobs now. Yeah. Like you can do it with a queue on Google Home, for example.
Yeah.
It's called Routine. And you can, it'll say, good morning, this is the weather.
Yeah.
This is your diary.
But again, that's you telling it what to do. It's not thinking for itself.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, so you can set a queue. So you walk in and go like, hey, good morning. And it'll be like, it'll trigger that routine.
Yeah.
So yeah, like,
so
I was like looking at that going, right, okay. So I don't know. I'm looking back at the printing press going, wow, what a time. And I'm looking at where we are now. It blows my mind really.
It is incredible. Funnily enough, I've been listening to the old episodes of the podcast. I don't think we mentioned AI about once every couple of months.
No, but it's hit a tipping point. And we were aware of it and we were playing with it, but it's more like the space frog eating a pizza example, the random stuff. I'm now really trying to use it to actually get
do
things
that 20%.
Done. Oh, we did it yesterday, didn't we, Ed? So, I didn't realise, because I've got that Copilot enhancement that I haven't paid for yet. Thank you.
Consider it as a gift.
Yeah, thank you.
Until you
get built. There is. I use Planner. I'm a big fan of Planner.
Big fan of Planner.
So I opened Planner to launch a new plan for a client job that we're doing, and it went. I didn't realise it's turned on like all the other Planner features.
Oh yes.
Do you want to use the power? It had a rocket symbol. That's like, of course, it's a rocket. Do you want the power assisted AI tool? So I went, okay. Put in my prompt. Here's what we're doing. And then it went da-da-da-da-da, and it got most of them.
Yeah.
Like the steps I need to do. The steps I actually had written down on my piece of paper, which I hadn't input all of them. I'd input most. I actually ran out of characters, so I couldn't put the rest in. It managed to guess another couple of them. Anyway, it was then like, I was going to assign some task to Adam, some task to me, and I could assign it to the agent.
Oh, yes.
Market research on like who are we targeting? Sponsorship package. We're going to be targeting clients. We need to do some potential customer research on who would go for these. So I was like, So I assigned it to the AI. It's pretty much nailed it in terms of all of the stuff that I was talking about. It's written it down, and I didn't record the meeting, by the way. No. But like it's come up with it itself, and literally the industries and everything, the sort I was like going after. It's pretty amazing, wasn't it? Yeah,
Adam's nodding away.
Yeah, so like I can then take that, and it's kind of summarised A, what I was thinking, and B, it shows that something else is thinking it. But yeah, so there we go.
That's the 20% again, and that's what I'm saying about everybody's saying, oh, like we have to. If we go back to Pascal, why do we have to buy the premium versions of these things? Everybody can trial the free versions, but this is where I instantly go, that's why I pay for Copilot.
Yep.
Look at what it did there. How much time did that save you? Probably the 20%. Like, wow.
Pretty much summarised exactly what I was saying and doing. There's just one other customer segment I want to add on.
Yeah.
But everything else was correct. And it hadn't suggested, because I said, if we're getting sponsors, who do you not want to sponsor you?
Resilient.
Certain industries.
Absolutely.
We'll just leave it as certain industries.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily it's not a good fit. It didn't suggest any of those.
Again, this is what I'm saying to people. What I find intriguing, and I don't know whether it's a sad thing, but once you get on the AI treadmill, it's very hard to stop because you suddenly go, oh, this is what it can do for me. Oh my God, what else can it do? Oh my God, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else?
So it saved me time, meaning that I can focus on the other tasks. Yesterday to get it so far, I just need to then add my extra customer segment in, but that report's pretty much done, and it's accurate, and it actually mirrors what I was saying, probably because of the way I've queued it as well and put the information in. Here's what we're trying to do, here's what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a bit of a digression. I know we've kind of flitted between the printing press and AI throughout this, but I'm like, the printing press was the start of all this, really.
It really was, and what's interesting from our point of view is that Resilient are getting like so busy at the moment. We're considering using, I think we mentioned before, we're using a company Moneypenny to take our calls and basically field the calls. Moneypenny have just launched a less expensive, they've called it. Instead of hiring people, so you want to speak to me, you would ring Resilient's number, but it would get redirected to somebody at Moneypenny, and you would speak to a real person. They've just launched their own AI, where you can speak to an AI person,
they can
and it will redirect a call and triage it. Just like our friend Craig Walsh from Castle Holmes, Moneypenny have now launched one, and it is significantly cheaper than hiring for a person. Again,
I'd love to know what people think about this.
I would do. Now we're probably going to go for it to try it.
You've got to. You can't just make a judgment.
And then I'm going to hire you, and so.
But you'll have to speak to my AI agent.
Adam, younger Adam.
Are we just going to be a bunch of AI agents talking to each other?
I think if we remember back to Mr. Pascal, if we remember back to Google's future, we will always be in control. But what they have seen and what I think I want is I do want that. Like you were driving in your car, you messaged and said, just tell Adam that I'm going to be late. But if you remember Pascal's thing, I'm going to get a haircut. I'm sorry. I'm going to ring. You won't get a haircut. But you would get the AI agent
to get my head shined.
Well, absolutely buffed. I'd like to get my head buffed. Is there an opportunity to have that?
Hey, Copilot, can you buff my head? Get my head buffed. Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah. I thought this morning, instead of giving my phone an instruction, because everyone, it's Siri, I've got an iPhone, but instead of giving my phone, that would just be AI.
It will be, mate. But what you will get is phone the office and do something.
Yeah.
And it will not just be
I already want Copilot to do more than it can do.
Absolutely, mate.
So I want to have a conversation with it and then go, right, could you save that as a Word document in a folder for me? And it can't do that at the moment.
It's coming.
Is it?
I've seen the Microsoft plan. future roadmap, and it is incredible. They reckon Q1, Q2 next year.
Right.
They are going to release the bit where you will say to Copilot, "Hey Copilot, can you write an email to Adam Walker? Can you bit these points?" At the moment, it can't write that email for you. It can only suggest an offer.
Yeah.
But you will actually get the whole thing where it goes, "Here was your email. Do you want me to send it?" Yes.
Certainly moved on from the printing press.
We certainly moved on from the print press. What are you doing for the weekend, my friend?
I'm playing rugby tomorrow. So the last game, did I see you last week?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I did. I told you, didn't I? Yeah, scored. Still
Yeah,
happy.
I know
I'm
you
still
did.
happy about that.
Yeah.
But we did lose. But yeah, we've got a game tomorrow. So that's it.
That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Honestly, that is it this weekend. I'm so happy.
Nothing else at
No,
all?
DJ, I'm having a few weeks off.
Right.
Christmas is booked up for DJing. I'm having a few weeks off. That's it really. Oh, I had a great time in Centre Parks last weekend.
Oh, of
That was
course, you
what
said.
a fantastic
Yes.
time. We had a great time. And that's why I'm looking at all this technology and everything else. You still can't beat being together as people, can you?
Oh, absolutely not. Funny enough, as I say, we're going. My father's birthday. We're taking him for a meal on Sunday, so that's going to be nice. That's just chill out,
Being together.
being
So
together,
important.
have some stuff like that.
Yep. What are you doing?
So having a meal with my father
Yeah,
on
obviously.
Sunday. But my gaming desk has now taken shape at home.
Has it?
Yeah, so it's got fitted, looks lovely.
Brilliant.
So we'll be staining it and
Properly,
reassembling.
not just with coffee.
No, not just as coffee, we're proper staining. So doing all of that. And what's interesting is, remember, we'll be at next Friday. Now, you said, I read somewhere you're on holiday next week.
I am away next week, yeah.
So,
You've got a guest.
Simfly.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm hosting that one.
You are, yes.
But that's the reason why you can't attend the Resilience 20th birthday.
It is, because
It's next Thursday.
I'm down south.
Down south.
We are going to see England versus Australia at Twickenham
Oh, very
on
good.
the Saturday, and we're going down midweek. So
Yeah.
so we'll be down there.
Good stuff. But yes,
So yeah,
next
unfortunately,
Thursday,
I can't attend.
20.
Are you coming, Adam? Did I send you that?
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Adam's there.
We've got I think we've got roughly about 40, 50 people turning up.
Well, fantastic achievement.
I know it, and that's what some of the things have been really nice, and I'd genuinely like to say thank you to some of my customers. So obviously I wanted to spread the net to every one of my customers, some of them with the greatest of respect. I've got some customers in Fife. They were never going to come. Do you know what I mean? That's a huge journey for them, but I didn't want to feel them left out. So one of our customers, oddly enough, in Fife, the email was absolutely, I was literally blown away with it. Like, I'm really sorry I couldn't attend it, but I think you already knew that. Thank you for inviting us. And then this lady, Alison, it's like 2 paragraphs just saying, congratulations. I just can't thank you enough for the work that you've done for us, how you've shaped us, what you do. You're always there to support us. And me and Michelle were reading like, oh my Lord, thank you so much.
Well, no one ever rings you to say, hey, this is good.
No, they don't, do you?
Because we're all busy, and that's the whole premise of your business. We look after it.
Funny enough, I mentioned that to somebody the other day. You'll be the same. I guarantee you could have a website up and running for 364 days of the year. For the one day it's down, that person will be screaming at you. And you're like, but I've had it running for 99% of the year. But it's this the industry we're in. So now we're going to prepare for that as well. So we're looking forward to that. And it's really nice. And as I say, everybody just says you should be. 20 years is a massive.
Yeah, who'd have thought? It all started when you set up a printing press in the 1500s.
Absolutely, mate. That's exactly what I was going to say. But thank you for stealing my line.
Oh, did I? No, mate. Honestly, it's a massive achievement.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you to the printing press. We're 20 years old.
I know.
I mean, I hope for 20 more. I mean, I'm going to say I'm 50 odd now. Sorry, 58. But even so, though, I'd like another 10 years before we do that and to see where we go.
Yeah.
We'll be on episode 600.
Hello, Andy. How are you?
But no, that's all good. So no, thank you for that, mate. That was really good, and I'll miss you next week.
I know.
But thank you
I'll
for
miss
Mr.
you as well.
Simfly. Oh, and we have got. I was listening to the very, very first guest episode.
Yes.
Hannah Worsley, she's coming back, but via Teams.
Perfect.
Because you've now got the technology to do it.
Technology.
Absolutely.
As that
Okay,
name
well,
goes.
thank you very much, everybody. Have yourself a nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye.